I refused to give up my front row spot at a concert to someone claiming to be disabled. So I've been a fan of this one artist for like 6 years now. Not in a weird way, but they genuinely got me through some rough times in high school and college. When they announced a show in another country, I knew I had to go. It was probably my only chance to ever see them live because they rarely tour and tickets sell out in seconds. I'm not gonna lie, getting there was rough. I had to save up for months, skipping lunches and selling stuff I didn't need anymore just to afford the flight and hotel. My roommate thought I was insane for spending that much, but I didn't care. This was my one shot. The day of the concert, I set my alarm for 4 in the morning. I showed up to the venue at 5 with a backpack full of snacks and water bottles. It was freezing cold and still dark outside. There were maybe 10 people in line ahead of me, all wrapped in blankets and hoodies. By noon, the line stretched around the block, but I was still near the front. Standing there for over 12 hours was brutal. My legs were numb, my fingers felt like ice, and I had to pee so bad at one point I almost cried. But every time I thought about leaving, I remembered why I was there. When the doors finally opened at 7, I sprinted inside with everyone else and managed to snag a spot right at the barricade, dead center in front of the stage. I was literally shaking with excitement. This was it, my dream spot. Then about 20 minutes later, this super tall guy taps my shoulder. He tells me he's disabled and that the venue was supposed to let him in early but didn't. He wanted my spot at the barricade. Now I'm really short, like 5'1" on a good day, and this dude was easily over 6 feet tall. If he stood in front of me, I wouldn't see anything except his back for the entire show. I felt bad at first, but something didn't add up. I've been to this venue before with friends who have disabilities, and they always get escorted to a special accessible section with amazing views and support. The staff here is super accommodating. So why was he in the general admission pit asking for my spot? I tried to be nice about it. I pointed to the right side of the barricade where there were still some open spots and told him he could go there. He'd still have a great view because of his height, and he could hold onto the rail for support, but he straight up refused. He said the view wasn't as good as where I was standing and that he needed this exact spot. That's when I got annoyed. I told him if his disability was serious enough that he needed barricade support, he should have gotten accessible seating tickets or brought a cane or something. I even said he could talk to security and they'd help him get to the front row disabled section, but he just kept insisting he needed my spot specifically. He started getting louder, saying he'd have a hard time standing if he couldn't take my place. People around us were starting to stare. I stood my ground and said no. I waited over 12 hours in the freezing cold for this spot, and I wasn't giving it up to someone who refused every other option I offered. That's when he called me an asshole, told me to get fucked, and stormed off into the crowd. The concert started about 30 minutes later, and it was incredible, but the whole time, I kept thinking about that guy.